I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business are minutes from last week.
So moved.
Second. Tom has moved and Dawn has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Angie's working on it. We have one tax abatement.
So it would be, move to approve one tax abatement to the treasurer's tax roll in the amount of $306.74. It's on Robin Williams and Shirley Ann Williams on the 2016 first half real estate abatement. 2016. There was additional depreciation was applied to the property because of physical deterioration, deferred maintenance not previously accounted for by the county. The adjustment resulted in a reduction in the appraised value. An adjustment was made because the condition of the property was previously unrecognized. Additional information was provided by the property owner, resulting in a reduction of the appraised value.
Is there a motion? This is over in Jacobs Creek.
Yes, I'll move them.
Fred is moved.
Aware.
Is there a second?
I'll second Cody.
Fred is moved and Don is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. First person on the agenda is Leonard Hernandez from the hospital. If you're ready.
I'm ready.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity again to come here and talk to you guys about the health system and where we are. And just a reminder that this is your hospital. This is your health system. You guys are the true owners of it. We do have a board, obviously, that governs it, but ultimately it comes here. So today, our hope is to accomplish three things. One is to give you a review of where we stand as far as COVID-19 and a restart for the health system. Two, as stated previously, we're here to review the 2021 budget worksheets and the capital equipment budget items looking from this year forward, years 2024 and 2025, as it exists today, which stands at nearly $9 million. That wish list, that request list. And three, finally, to address the outstanding county loan to Coffee Health System from the county, and we want to talk about that. So let me start a little bit and tell you, can you all hear me? Okay. So a few months ago, I called Cody and I said, hey, Cody, I'd like for you to come down and visit with me about the health system, where we're at, what we're talking about before we get to the board meeting, before we get to the budget meeting. and to try to figure out, what the direction of the health system is going forward. So he was gracious enough to come down and we talked about it, times have changed. I think that was late February, and, in March, we started in March, and we were having the best first week we've had in a long, long time. We normally average about $115,000 a day in gross revenue. That first week, 10 days of March, we were at 147,000. And I was like, wow, this is good. That was a smart thing to call Cody in and talk to him a little bit. And then the bottom fell out. Then we met COVID-19 and the bottom fell out. Not unlike all the other hospitals that you hear and read about. We actually, over March and April and May, basically about between 30 and 40% reduction in charges over that time. Primarily in outpatient services and surgery. We did choose early to stop the elective surgeries, which is a big part of what we do. And so that's kind of what happened. And so that changed everything. And we decided that through the time that this was all going on, you probably read all the articles about hospitals that furloughed employees, hospitals that cut salaries, hospitals that did cut jobs. They did all those kinds of things. Early on, I called the infection control team together and the E team, our executive team. And I said, I'm going to do everything that we can to go after every federal, state dollar that we can find so that we don't have to address that. And we did that. And we're successful in doing that. So that's why you didn't hear about the hospital laying off people or cutting salaries or doing any of that. Because we were out front. Juanita, I think you heard me joke a little bit earlier that Juanita, I talked more to Juanita when she was home on medical leave than when she was next door to me in my office, and that's true. And I've said this over and over and over again, that Juanita was, one of the true healthcare heroes that I met over the last 2 or 3 months, because she never not answered, whether it was in the morning, at night, it didn't matter. If I needed her to talk to her about something, she was there. So as we go into this, we're going to talk about some of the things that have happened over the years. I'm wrapping up my 5th year here with the health system. Just as a reminder for some of you who may not have been here at that point in time, at 5 years ago, we were losing $4 million plus a year in the health system with the tax money that was already there. And so, 5 years ago, we decided that we were going to make some changes over the next 2 or 3 years to help get us into a position that, not that we'll never need tax money, because I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, I don't think there's a hospital that can survive without some kind of additional revenue, additional cash. So we did a few things. We implemented the accreditation, which was the first time in 62 years that the hospital has had accreditation. We became a critical access hospital, which increased our cash flow, and we became a 340B participant, pharmaceutical participant. And those 3 things, along with lots of others, and also at that time, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, our accounts receivable was over $7 million, of which 3.5 million was self-pay, which means very hard collections. So today, our AR is about 3.6 million. Our days in AR went from 100 to 53. So there's been a lot of work that has gone into the health system and trying to get us down to a point where 60 days is really good in a health system. For us to be at 53 is really, really good. I think the auditors probably would tell you that that's one of the biggest changes that they've ever seen in a rural hospital. And that's not to brag, but that's just to say that there's been a lot of work that's gone into turning this health system around. So I told you a little bit ago that about 5 years ago, the hospital was losing about $4.2 $2 or $3 million a year. Our audit was just completed. We don't have it yet because, COVID put a lot of things on the back burner. We will have it at our June meeting, and we'll get copies to you. But what we've been told at this point is that it will reflect about a $480,000 profit for the first time in a long, long time. So a profit. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it alone. We did it with your support, the board support, the staff, medical staff, everybody involved decided that they wanted to fix this system, and they stood behind me and sometimes some crazy ideas about how to get things done, but it worked, and I appreciate that very much. So having said all that, I'm going to let Juanita come up and present the budget. Just a couple of points before she does that. We have done our best. We understand we've had 3 months that have not been good dollar-wise. But the good news is that we have been able to supplement those lost charges through some funds and through some grant funds and some payments from Medicare, that advanced accelerated payments from them. We have to pay that back. Unless we can get that converted, which we are doing our best to do right now on the state and national level, if we can get those funds converted from loans to grants, that would be a huge benefit. But nobody really knows whether that's going to happen or not. We hope it will, and if it does, it will just help the conversation that we're going to be having a little bit later. But with that, I'm going to have Juanita come up and present the budget to you, and then I'll come back and talk to you about some other things. So, Juanita?
I didn't know Terry got these to you guys, so I brought copies for everyone to look at while I look at them. It would make more sense. It's the same format as last year. You have the hospital on one two-sided sheet, and then you have the ambulance service. And like our critical access accreditation, the ambulance service is not considered that because it's not the only ambulance service within the 30-mile radius of Woodson County. And we have a clinic down there. So anyway, just to kind of point that out, first of all. Second of all, I will say, while we've been through hard times and we're coming on $1 million operating loss at the end of April, we are going to post an end of May loss again at the operating level, but then at the bottom line comes in your support and then our grant support. So we feel like, now that we fast forward, here we are June 1st, we do feel like, and this budget presents as such, that we can go forward now. Kind of that block is there, and God willing, COVID doesn't, resurface to the level that really shuts down our services again. We feel like we couldn't present a lost budget. I didn't feel that way. I felt like I had to at least go break even and say, we're going to do everything we can to recoup some of this revenue and start back up again and get our operations going. Because this budget actually for the county period, is the June 1st, the 2021 as you're looking July. So we felt like we're starting to ramp up again. We're starting to see, some activity. So going forward, basically the first 2 pages is your hospital side. It's pretty much break even. There's a little revenue there, but all of that could change in a heartbeat as we try to keep procuring PPE costs and things we need to continually safely operate. The back of that, though, I guess I'll point out this. On the capital outlay line is that 370,240 that a long time ago, pre-me, I came right after Leonard. You were trying to say, okay, we're but in doing so, we've had a lot more infrastructure needs than that per year. So if you look at the back, truly that is the infrastructure needs. We have a roofing project that needs done. We have computer systems that need upgraded. And then you go to the medical side. We have medical equipment coming to end of life that we have to replace. And the details of each one of those are available if you need them. each of those departments. But this is not truly a wish list. This is a needs list. And as you can see, that clearly is well above our capital outlay budget that we've earmarked. The big ticket item in information systems is, we were told when they implemented that information system in 2013-14, before Leonard and I came, that was a 10-year system. Well, at 2024, that's coming at the 10 years. So we know at 2023, we have to look at the information systems and look at our longevity. And that is probably a low figure. Information systems for health systems are extremely expensive. And so then the second half of that, you go to your ambulance. And the ambulance typically does show profit, but you have to, in their department, it's not the overhead and building costs. That's on the hospital side. So the ambulance itself, as far as the fleet and the employment and the runs, does pay for itself, and the county money does cover a lot of that, and we appreciate that. But the actual building and over, if they had to go out on their own, they may break even or even lose money, because that's counted on the hospital side. Kind of point that out. And on the back of their future capital expenditure sheet, we said 2 years ago we were going to earmark $75,000 a year to start replacing the fleet because it's aged out. So we had the opportunity to buy that new ambulance in 2019, and we're still planning on in 2021 buying another ambulance to replace the old 12-year-old. I mean, they're old, and so they run thousands of miles a year. So we have that aged out and planned in our procurement to replace that fleet. I know it's a lot of information. Any questions to this point? Okay.
There's a one line item on
Sure.
ambulance. Use quick response vehicles, what's that?
That is the truck. That's where they can get to the scene quickly. The ambulance follows with some of
Okay.
like
It's a pickup that they
Yeah.
drive.
it does have a limited supply of some stuff that they can get there, kind of stabilized so the ambulance can get there. But it's 10,
It's been
Oh,
around.
yeah, it's pretty rusted out.
15 years
It's
old.
starting to show some rust.
Yeah. We had thought we would replace that sooner, but we haven't had that opportunity, so.
Back to the hospital side, pharmacy department, 320,000.
Our actual,
Restructure part of the building or
no,
what's involved?
that is the Omnicell unit. So because we don't have a 24-hour pharmacy, we have locked up places where authorized personnel at ER, night nursing can go and dispense pharmaceuticals as needed. That system is a 10-year life and it's at it. It's over. We needed it this year, as a matter of fact. It's $300,000 to have that security. And with all of the opioid epidemic and things like that, we don't have a 24-hour retail pharmacy. We have to have that system. Unfortunately, that's not the building at all.
It's an appliance.
Right, exactly. And needed medical expense. Anything further? Okay, thanks. I'll let Leonard continue.
Would you help me? Would you help with this?
Oh, sure. You want to take one?
Sure. So as Juanita is passing these out, a couple of things I forgot to mention earlier. One is I mentioned, that we had talked and that we would do our best. Not one employee ever lost 1 hour or $1 or 1 day of work that they didn't want to take off. We did have a couple of people who decided that COVID was a little bit more than they wanted to try to handle, and so they did take some time off. But none of that was forced. And the other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, and I say this all the time, We are so fortunate to have a chief medical officer like Dr. Shell, county health system led by Lindsay, our hospital infection control team, who did an amazing job of keeping COVID out of our facility and managing it where we did have it. So I wanted to mention that because historically in other hospitals, I've been doing this a long time, but historically hospitals and county health and not everybody always gets along. And for this thing, everything was put aside. And the whole issue was protecting our patients, our staff, our community, and the other communities that we serve. And I don't know there was one flare-up in 90 days that we've been working together side by side. And if there was, it was worked out pretty easily. So I want to give kudos to County Health, and to you guys for supporting County Health, and again for Dr. Shell and all of our staff for the efforts that were put forth in handling COVID-19. So I said earlier that I was going to basically talk about three things. So we talked about kind of where we were, where we've been. We talked about the budget. And hopefully if you have any questions about that, you'll feel free in contacting us about that. But the third one I said I wanted to talk about is the county loan, which currently stands out at about $2.9 million. And I think that you all have this form now. So, you know, the last 2 years that we've been here, we've asked you to defer the payments for a year, which you graciously did. So that payment is now due on June 3rd. And so we need to talk about that. So we need to talk about what do we do going forward about these loans. So here's the three things that I talked to the board about the other day and that the board has supported. I wouldn't be here talking about these things if the board did not support it. But currently our mill levy for the hospital and the ambulance is 1.830 or $1,019,747 approximate, which currently is 5% of our operating budget in gross. It's about 7 or 7.5 if you look at that. So here's the options that we looked at and what we have. Number one, if we have no change in funding and reduce what we would have to do, and if you guys say, no, it's time for you to start making payments on this thing, we would have to start making those payments at $35,416.67 a month, or $425,000 a year. And again, those payments are scheduled to resume in June to the county, to you, for a current loan balance of $2,974,999. If that happens, this action would probably eliminate the current budget and utilize annual funding of the $372.40 that Juanita talked about that we've used the last 4 or 5 years for capital equipment. That would mean that no capital equipment except for that which absolutely had to be purchased in an emergency could be done. And in my estimation, would further push back existing capital needs currently totaling, well, I said 5 there, but it's actually about $9 million. That would set us back about 5 years, the last health system back about 5 years, and would only necessitate somewhere down the line doing a multi-million-dollar building project in the near future to help address those needs as was always done historically. So that's option one. And of course, this depends on what you guys decide you want us to do. Option two, we could request total loan forgiveness, which we've done the last couple of years, of the current balance due to the county. And just as a reminder, I mean, as I said 2 or 3 times today, this is your hospital. This is you guys are the drivers of this thing. So you really own it. I mean, let's say we operate it, but you own it. So we could leave that, we could leave our current mill levy in place. But in doing that, we would not be able to internally address any additional capital in 2021. And we would keep our budget at this $372.40. So let me give you an example. We did two big projects and one small project. That's all we got done in this year. You can see the list, there's lots of other things we should be doing, but we haven't been able to do that. And we haven't been able to do that because if we would have done it, we wouldn't have been able to show a profit for one thing. And the other thing is we have done our best over the last 5 years to be fiscally responsible to you, to the taxpayers, to anybody that can call this hospital theirs, this health system. So we are in a position, item number 3, I didn't think I'd ever be, I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I don't think I've ever come to a county commission meeting or city council meeting and make the following offer. So we know that going forward, we have to do something with this $2.9 million. Now, as I said on the paper here, because of COVID, because of this one-time COVID funding, options of PPP, the advanced accelerated payments, which have to be repaid, and the extended grants that we've gotten we believe we can get to the end of 2020 without the tax money. So what we would like to do is offer to forfeit the remainder of 2020 county tax money, second half, approximately $941,056.71 in exchange for total forgiveness of the remaining $2,974,999. If you put that together with the payments that were made previously, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1.3 million on return back from the loans that the county gave several years ago. And actually they probably gave those loans thinking they may not ever get any of it back. But it was something that had to be done at the time. The county commission stepped up to do it. We tried to do it. We tried to get operations to a point where we could absorb that, but we're just not making progress with that. And in doing that, that means that we're always going to have our capital equipment on hold. And we would do that, and we would keep our 2021 appropriations as the same, 1.83 requests in both hospital and ambulance, with an understanding that we may have to address future capital needs with an increase in the total mill levies for both the hospital and the ambulance, not a building project, but a mill levy increase potentially as allowed in Kansas statutes KSA 194606 and 194611. So, we would not do that in 2021. Maybe in 2022, they would come back and say, we're not in the best of times to make that kind of request at this time. When I talked to Cody back in February or whatever, that was actually the plan. The plan was to come in and say, we think we need to increase our mill levy, which we are allowed to do by statute with your authorization. But after COVID, that all had to be put back on the table and say, hey, maybe another time. This isn't the right time to do that. But our biggest concern is going forward would be how much of a relief it would be to be able to have conversations about the future of Coffee Health System without that $2.9 million hanging over our head. It's incredible that we were even able to do that, to make that offer at this point. Like I said, I've been doing this almost 30 years. I can't remember ever doing that. But the idea behind it is obviously that we know the county's in a tougher position this year, just like everybody else. With COVID, we're not sure about taxes, how well people are going to pay second half taxes and all that kind of stuff going forward. But it is an option for us to be able to relieve a little bit of that pressure, but for you to relieve a lot of pressure from the health system. And I say that, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm about to say, but I would just say this is the time. This is the one and only time that we have to make this offer. And I truly mean that. And I know that your board, your council is going to change moving forward. Our board changes, regularly. I've been here 5 years. I don't know if I'm going to be here 6 years or 10 years or whatever the case may be. But the reality is no matter who stands here a year from now talking to you about, the health system, this would be a huge advantage for all those 300 people, that work at the health system, for all the taxpayers who have supported the hospital over the years. I just have to say, I think it's the right thing to do. We don't know that we're ever going to be able to carve out $425,000 a year operationally, without cutting services and cutting staff and doing all those kinds of things, which I don't think you really want us to do. I mean, when you look at our numbers and you look at comparisons to other hospitals of our community size, we're doing a great job. And also, I would just say one other thing, and that is that we are all the time recruiting. We have a new mid-level who's coming to town in about 2 weeks. We have a new doctor who we're hoping to meet with over the next 30 days to finalize a contract that she would be here in 2022. She has a year from 2022. But as that time goes along, our current doctors are, getting tired, and we have to be able to work towards getting them replaced at some point in time. They have all met this young lady. She's very interested in coming here, and we're very interested in getting her signed. So she actually has some local ties. Yates Center, I believe, and Ottawa. So, having said all that, certainly I would entertain any questions.
I was here when we gave the loan, and I'll be honest with you, I am not in favor of simply forfeiting the loan. I am very much in favor of deferring them as time goes on, and let's see where the hospital comes to. But my opinion would be, I'm in favor of deferring the loan for another year, and you can continue because you offer to forfeit the remainder of 2020 taxes, which is not quite half of what the loan is. But I would say take that money and do what you can do with it. I mean, all I'm saying is, you have some good ideas, but leave the current mill levy in place. Let's just forfeit the loan. Let's see where we're at a year from now. And, not forfeit it, but let's just.
Yeah, in normal times, I would say you're right. Normal times, I'd be happy to say that. But the reality is, we're in a position right now that's different than where we've been in the last 5 years. We've been in a long time from the health system point of view. And my job is to look forward. My job is to look forward into recruiting and getting doctors and keeping staff and opening services and doing those kinds of things. We are constantly after local talent. We just signed an OT that's a local who's going to be coming to work for us this summer. But we just have to keep doing that. And the problem is, like I said, when you try to do these things, and even if you try to do a small building project, something just a renovation, one of the things that we've talked about for a long, long time here, for at least 3 years, is behavioral health. In order for us to do a behavioral health unit, it would cost us about $1.5 million to convert the space that we have to be able to do that. We can't do that with that $2.9 million loan sitting behind us. In my opinion, that's just not fiscally responsible.
I somewhat agree with what Bob was saying, but it looks like with the projected capital outlays you have for 4 years, I'm not sure you can set those up as in a planning process if you don't have the forgiveness of the 2.9. Now, I'm not exactly sure how your auditor, treat all that.
Yeah.
And there's no way, say we cut back services, we cut back employee staff, and say that amounts to a 5% savings, maybe 7 or 8 or 10. My feeling is you cut back that 5 or 6%, your projected gross revenue will probably drop by 10 or 15.
Exactly.
It'll actually be, in my opinion, it'll be more negative than it will be positive.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
That's my thought on that.
I look at another way of this, and like I said, I am not in favor of But I also look at this, and I would look at this along, as long as I'm here, if the hospital comes back, and when they show that they're starting to actually operate in the red more, I would be looking at it and say, okay, we'll forgive a certain percentage of this loan because you're operating here. You come back the following year and you're still in the red, you're doing a little bit, we might say, okay, we'll give another percentage of this. But I think that the hospital needs to have a little skin in the game.
No, I think
It was
we
not
have,
intended as a grant, it was intended as a loan.
I get that, and I wasn't here when that happened, but I get
And I
that.
was.
But here's my, comeback to that, and that is, that the other solution to this is for us to increase the mill levy and put that money towards the loans until they're paid off. I don't think that makes a lot of sense to taxpayers again, for monies that,
But it's still taxpayers' money. Either
it's
way-
still,
Either
it's
way
still,
you look at that.
it is, but somewhere down the line, for you guys to have that funding, the taxes were there, and you use the tax money to, create your fund, or which that money come from. And if we just increase the mill levy, well, which we don't want to do, I mean, that's not even an option this year. And the only reason I say that is because of where the country is, where we are locally, where we're at statewide, where we're at nationally. It's just not the right time for us to increase the mill levy. And I'm not disagreeing with you, Bob, about giving the note another year. I just have to tell you that I don't think you'll ever hear this conversation from me again, or anybody else who is sitting in my chair. I just don't think you'll ever hear that. And if you want to send a message to the community, if you want to send a message to the 300 employees, including all the doctors, who we all depend on every day, in my opinion, this is the right thing to do.
Well, I think when we gave this, back when we were doing all this, I think we gave $1 million that we knew basically was a grant that we would never get back. And we're not going to ever get it back, and I didn't expect it to get it back. But at the same time, I'm going to go back to the deal, this was intended as a loan, it was not intended as a grant.
Yeah.
And I fully understand what you're saying, and I support the hospital 100%. I'm
I
probably
know
one of the
you do.
leaders on
Yeah.
giving this money.
Yeah.
And I'm for, if they need more money, I would probably give more money now. But I just don't feel like, I personally thinking that, and hopefully I'm speaking for the people in my district, is that I just don't feel like that just forgiving it's the thing to do at this present time.
Well, come back again to that is that we will have paid back about $1.3 million, which is more than I would have ever dreamed that we would have been able to do. I think even Angie, when the first year we paid, we kind of had to explain how we were able to do that. But the reality is, I'm here to present it to you guys. You're here to talk about budget options. You're here to talk about, and I guess I'm the first one to talk about the budgets and whatever. So, I came here today to present this option to you. I still believe it's the right option to do. And if you want to make our health system stronger for years and years and years to come, I think it's the right thing to do. So I would close with that unless anybody has any questions.
I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
And we'll look at it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I do, of course, I wasn't here when this thing originated 4, 5, 6 years ago. I do remember the comment being made last year that when we forgive 2019 through June of this year, the comment was made to the commission. Didn't expect to ever get it back. So yes, it was provided as a loan. Technically at that time, there was some thought about it being a grant. The comment was made, didn't expect to ever get it back. To take care of the hospital the way it needs to be taken care of. We got Anderson County, we got Allen County that's joint venture in Kansas City. I think.
Yep.
So that's a step forward to go in my mind. We need to stay away from that if we can. But, and I don't know whether that issue or subject's ever been discussed to the board.
I think it has previously. I mean, we haven't talked about it since I've been here, but because I've been an advocate, I'm always been an advocate of independence. I think you can get in stronger as an independent. That's in my position, 30 years. I've never advocated to join the health system.
I got a son-in-law, IT Alberta Travis County, they've been 2 years or maybe longer putting it together. Today's the first day the joint venture is taking place.
Wow.
And they were 2 years plus trying to save their hospital. And we don't want to get to that. To me, we don't want to get to that point.
No, I don't think you do either.
And I think our taxpayers probably, even though we represent them, I think the value it brings to the communities, the value of employment, is totally unreal. In my mind, they probably support the forgiveness, but that's up for discussion.
Okay.
How many years has this been out there?
I think it started
2014.
14, I think is when they.
Yeah.
Maybe that's right.
That's when you had the 5 million loans.
Well, I will say something here, and it's just for me personal. But I recently had a doctor's appointment in Topeka. My doctor's retiring. I'm moving my care to your hospital. The doctor that I have used for years, without any prompting, said that he realized that Coffee County Hospital was doing a great job. And he didn't have any reason to say that particularly, except that he's aware of that. And I've been watching the news, and I've seen a lot of hospitals going under across the state. And I've seen or heard that county commissions have had to provide money to hospitals across the state, and even those that are going under, they're providing money to. But, and again, I was here when this loan was created. Since that time, most of the discussion has been that the hospital would never be able to repay it, even though it was considered a loan. And I also realize that many times, small business or hospitals or whatever, when they carry an albatross around their neck, like a loan that they can't repay, it holds them back and keeps them from operating efficiently. But it's always in their mind. So I guess I would take the point of view that since it has been discussed and has been considered as a loan that the hospital would not be able to repay, I would say that total forgiveness would be made to that loan.
Thank you. Anybody else? Tom?
I'd like to think about it just a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, you have 10 days.
We've
I
got
mean,
10 days. We've got
You have 10 days to review the budgets and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I'm
And,
gonna
maybe it would have been great if you had said to me,
do a little math.
go have yourself a good day, that kind of thing, but I understand.
Do a little math. Wonder on it.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks for coming.
You bet.
Thank you.
Connie, if you're ready.
I would like to request a executive session for non-elected personnel for the commissioners, myself. Wade by phone, is that right, Donna?
Yes.
And please.
For how long?
2 minutes.
Personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to the KSA. Got that?
Yeah, I do.
You got it down, and she,
I do.
so
Don's moved, is there a second?
Second.
Tom is second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We'll go in for 10 minutes at 9:46.
Turn here.
You got Wade. The phone number in there.
I'll call them on cell phone. Turn on speaker.
Right.
How's Mark? Oh, good. That was the weekend. Quiet. It was. One thing we had was, a couple of protesters down here. Was it? Yeah. Was it? I saw somebody holding a sign in municipal park. That's what it was. I couldn't read it. You couldn't. Yeah, I got a call that there was some protesters down there Sunday, I think it was yesterday, yeah. So I come out and went in and I just sat down the road and watched them. And there was 2, and then there was 3, and then there was 6, and then there was 2, and then there was 5, then there was 3. They're not destroying anything or whatever. You know, and I called the city officer and said, I need to know what your guys' policy is. I don't know what your plans are on this, but my deal is they have a right to protest and voice their opinions. They're not causing any, as long as they don't go out in traffic or throw things or whatever, then they have the right to a voice. And, I get why they're protesting. I get it. What I see is disturbing in Minneapolis. And so I don't agree with the looting. I don't agree with the vandalism and the damage and setting the vehicles on fire. But I do. That's my mind. It's people that are infiltrating the good that's intended by protesting, and they're using it as an excuse and some of these people are coming in from other towns into these big cities to do this. I don't agree with that. I get why they're protesting. I do even get why they attacked the Minneapolis police station, substation. I get that. That's where their anger is as a community. While I don't agree with it, I get it. I understand it, but I don't agree with it. You shouldn't, you're creating a bad image, whatever the cause, whoever the cause, So the ones here, I went up the road and sat up there by the Shade Guy's place up there at the filling station. So I just sat there from a distance, and I, of course, it had unmarked unit, but so I just sat and watched, and they held their signs up and they turned them, and you could hardly read their signs, and so.
I tried to read one, but I didn't want to have an accent trying to. I couldn't figure it out.
So how long was that?
Had I not got called on it, I wouldn't have known what it was. Just by driving by, I would have thought they were advertising a car wash or something, you wouldn't have known, so they didn't cause any harm and stuff. And so, I don't think the protests are gonna end anytime soon, unfortunately, and it's almost like some of the protesters are intentionally escalating
Yes, ma'am.
the forcing the law enforcement's hand, just to push to see a violent reaction. And unfortunately, it's coming to that, just like there were shots exchanged. Apparently, somebody took some pot shots, shots at an NYPD.
you know, and somebody else in one of the protests, it wasn't law enforcement, but somebody got shot. Yeah. Come on, guys.
I saw a video,
Yes.
somebody a little while ago, where it was kind of a big fist fight just started.
Really?
Something like that.
I did not understand the guy that drove the tanker truck. I don't know if it was intentional or he got confused, you know, and came down that interstate, because it was an interstate or main thoroughfare, it looked like, and came into the protest, and then it's like, it's too late at that point. So maybe he was scared.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, maybe he was scared. I don't know. You know, now if it was an intentional act, then that's another issue in itself. They said they arrested him, so I don't know. But, you know, I can understand if he got down the wrong road and came into that. I'd be scared. I mean, I remember back to the riots out in where the trucker that got pulled out of the semi, and you remember that? And they beat him and hit him with a brick in the head. And, I mean, if the guy inadvertently went down the wrong road, I can understand why he'd be scared.
Yeah.
I'd be scared, you know.
A bunch of people turn around and yell.
And, well, yeah, and they're climbing on your truck, and you know, and so yikes! I'm like, wow. So I don't know. Oh, but anyway, so that was the excitement for the weekend. I like those weekends.
Oh, we'll take it.
We will take that. I was homesick all weekend.
Really?
For the most part. Yeah, I tell you, Thursday I got not feeling good. And I had to go up to Kansas City on the deal. And I thought, oh, great. So I started getting sick, my stomach, and not feeling good. I slept, like, I got home Thursday evening from work. I slept like till Friday. No, I mean, I think it was just a bug that scared me enough to like, oh, great, don't tell me I went to Kansas City and got exposed. I tried not to stop anywhere except where I had to go. Where I had to go, they're doing social distancing, they're doing masks, sanitizing, everything you're supposed to do. So I stopped at one convenience store to get gas.
I had a doctor's appointment Wednesday in Memphis. And I've been in there for the very first time in this whole thing I had for.
Really?
And I walked in there and everybody's wearing masks. I was like, just pick up and put one on for
Yeah. When I go to physical therapy up here, you have to put a mask on. And so I bring my mask with me. I don't know what's in there. I got a mask I bring with me, and I usually put it on. If not, they give you one.
Yeah.
And you have to have a mask on the whole time you're at physical therapy. And so yeah, it's like, but like when I went to Kansas City up there, I put a mask on and I did all the right things, I thought, you know, except I stopped at a gas station and got some gas and something to drink. I thought, oh crap.
That's one thing about all these riot things and everything. Everybody's wearing masks because they COVID-19 and you can't.
And it makes you wonder, you know, yeah, they got masks. It's like any other time they're trying to hide their identity. Well, you don't know which is legit and which isn't, which is for COVID-19 and which is to hide your identity. So it's like, geez. Definitely. So, you know, law enforcement's doing their intel work ahead of time, obviously. They're trying to see who's through surveillance and intel. Well, then they, like in Minneapolis, you know, they go around trying to do their intel. Well, there's vehicles that some of these people they know are going to protest ahead of time, but there's people they're taking their tags off their vehicles. So you can't find out who they are. Well, that makes you wonder then, what are they up to? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a mess. I never thought I'd see a lot of things in my lifetime I've ever seen. Jeez, kind of a crazy world. Angie, I called up the Capers and stuff to try to get an appointment. And they're still not taking appointments.
Oh, really?
No, they're still not. they're still not taking appointments or anything. They mailed me a packet and told me go ahead and fill it all out, and the gal was wonderful on the phone. She was awesome. In fact, she gave me some information and stuff, and I had some questions, and she went above and beyond answering them
Right.
and stuff. But yeah, they're still not taking appointments and stuff, so that kind of surprised me. I figured they'd be doing like by appointment only.
Yeah,
Uh,
not yet.
Almost. We've got less than a minute. Okay, we're back in now.
I would like to ask permission to advertise for a field appraiser.
We have a motion upon recommendation of the county appraiser. Move to approve the request to advertise and hire one full-time field appraiser for the appraiser's office to fill a vacancy due to resignation.
So moved.
Tom has moved. Is there a second? Second. Fred is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
What position do you expect to bring that person in?
It's
Appraiser
gonna
two,
be,
appraiser
it's
three?
gonna be, depend on if they have experience or not. I'm gonna advertise.
So that's still, on in your mind, you're keeping that part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Todd, if you're ready.
I'd rather sit back there and do it, but I will come up here. A couple of weeks ago, we gave a tour to a group from Iola of our recycling operations. They heard great things about our program, so they wanted to come see it. Well, so I've been asked by this, and it's a citizens group. I've been asked by this group if we would take their plastics and glass from Iola. And I told them that was probably something that I needed to discuss with the commission about and get your opinions on it. So they're marketing their cardboard, they're marketing their paper products. They've currently been taking their plastics to Wichita and giving them there, and they'd rather bring them over.
A little
to
closer.
Burlington. We're a lot closer, so that's why they asked.
Is there a market in it for it?
The market it fluctuates greatly. Yes, so everything that they would bring us would provide some sort of income, except for the glass. And the glass, we've got a roll off there. We put 35,000 pounds of glass in it. When it's full, they come get it and provide us another income. So we're not receiving any income on the glass.
But we're not spending anything.
We're not spending anything on it, and we're keeping it out of landfill.
Did they give an estimated tonnage or amount?
So what they're talking about is every month or two is bringing us a semi-load. Yes.
So the rollback though, when you fill it, does it cost us to get rid of it?
No.
This won't be a major burden for you.
The only thing is it's going to be us processing it, but we think we can squeeze that in without, any additional help or anything like that. We think we can handle it. It'll just take a little bit longer to do our processing.
And it won't. Just on the plastics, you store that up.
Yes.
In the market
Right.
price. And
So-
do you see it causing any issue with storage space?
No.
Not so much.
The only thing that I see an issue with is that they use those 275-gallon totes. And then we're gonna have to,
Dump them.
well, we can dump them perfectly fine, but it's the storage of those. And, they're gonna have to be, they will not be able to be inside our building. We'll have to store them somewhere outside. So, that's the issue that I've got at this point, is where we're gonna store all of those totes.
For me, I mean, if you're okay with it and you can figure out a plan on storage, I don't see why we wouldn't.
Yeah, as long as it's not burden on you.
So when they bring the semi, who's gonna unload it?
We will unload it. They're not gonna use our equipment.
Who's gonna get their stuff back?
So when they bring us the next load, they will pick up all the empty ones, all the empty totes.
So are we gonna get enough out of plastic to offset that?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Sometimes we've got 35 cents a pound for milk jugs, so.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, some of the other plastics, like our mixed plastics, we may get a penny a pound, So there's not a lot of money in that, but we feel that we can handle the additional volume without any extra expenses.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Finally,
We've got another group coming from Fredonia on Wednesday to tour our operations. So this one is actually the city of Fredonia. The other group was just a citizen group from Iola that operates their whole recycling program. Allen County does do their transport of the recyclables to Wichita, or which would be now us, if that's what the commission agrees upon.
If we do this at no charge for Allen County, and other counties discover that, what happens when the next 2 or 3 comes to us and does present an issue?
I guess we'll deal with it at that time.
Yeah, I understand that, but, they're gonna expect to have the same service. Expected and getting us 2 different things.
Right.
So we'll cross that bridge when it comes in.
too busy is too busy.
Yeah. I'm saying, well, once we get to capacity, then we might not be able to take it from even Iowa, but.
Correct.
Until we get there. we don't
Exactly.
know. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm kind of getting a feel of the commission that everybody's in favor of this.
Yes.
Okay. One other thing, we're still making chemical sales over the phone and having the customers come and pick them up by appointment. Are we still?
We'll leave that at your discretion.
Okay.
I mean, everything else is kind of opening back up. We're not under any orders right now. So
Okay.
if you feel comfortable opening back up or staying that way for another week.
It's actually worked out really well this way, but
Well, and that way they know someone's there to.
Yeah.
To actually do it when they show up too. So
okay. All right. You have anything for me?
keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you. Yeah. Lindsay hiding anywhere?
No.
Call her real quick.
Take off the break.
Just take a break.
Yeah, take a quick break. Take a quick break. I'll just run up there. See if she's in her office.
Okay.
Good morning.
Do you remember what time you went into executive session?
9:40.
48?
6.
Okay, thank you.
Sort of wrote down anyway.
That's just a little bit left in the barn. We have some time about it. You put it up, That part of your truck, I don't have to do away from other people there. So, yeah. Good. Adam. Okay. Phase 2.
Get it figured out just in time to pay for it.
That's what I figure, it's coming. I figured, I haven't talked to Dr. Shell this week yet, but I figure that's probably gonna get bumped quicker than, does Lindsay know? You don't know? You know what their plans are.
I did very close to that.
Are they gonna go to phase 3 or
So far, Dr. Sheldon has followed that.
as a recommendation? I thought that's where we were still at, phase 2 recommendations. I went to Kansas City last week. I did. But you know, I went to a place, it was on the Missouri side. They had marks for, social distancing, had chairs set up, had a sanitizing station. They had masks and gloves there if you wanted them.
So you guys are.
Otherwise, they just took hand sanitizing and social distancing. It worked fine. It worked fine.
You're outside, everybody's
It
out.
wasn't that, well, I think a lot of it kind of took away from our perception, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
I can ask him what funds they was gonna get. He says, program. I don't know what they're gonna get. It's like something.
They're no longer really. 1%. Else are they in cases?
And you
I don't know what
worked on that big still.
They are,
I talked to him about that too. They scheduled that not knowing whether we got the chance. And they didn't know whether they might schedule.
The metro area, really? I didn't know
Or
that.
not either.
so even if you can't.
Everything's just all straight. They're doing this.
Good morning. Good. Great weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. It'll be hot though,
When is
unfortunately.
this?
I think she got the schedule for the third Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't think they're ready to know that. Sure.
Lindsay.
Catch it on the card. So, yes, we should. No, I'm just bothering you with this stuff.
Hey, you're not bothering.
Check the schedule.
Okay.
Some other countries are. We're just not designed. We're the only country in the world.
What is this?
I'll leave it alone. Special. Oh, that's not.
This is
short.
getting a little.
If you're ready.
That's right.
Give that to,
All right, guys. Just wanted to give you an update. A lot has changed since I've been in last. The governor, as you all know, has gone away from these statewide orders and has now put that responsibility back to counties to decide how to go forward. And when that happened, Dr. Shell decided he wants to recommend that we follow the governor's Ad Astra plan. And so that's the guidance we've been providing to businesses that call and residents that call. So at this time, there's no legal order of the status of Coffee County. These are simply recommendations. And so that's how we've been portraying it. Right now, under the governor's recommendations, entertainment venues with a capacity of 2,000 plus are not to be open. Fairs, festivals, and parades are not to be open. Summer camps, unless they're associated with a licensed daycare, are not to be open. Most swimming pools are not to be open. Bars and nightclubs, excluding already operating curbside and carry-out services, are not to be open. But again, these are just recommendations now. So, and the mass gathering size is 15. Again, that's not 15 in one location. That's a group of 15 separated by 6 feet and another group of 15 over here. So we will be in this phase, and these phase recommendations, I guess, we would change phases on June 8th and go to phase 3, according to this plan. So then at that time, things open up a little more and the gathering size increases to 30. So that's how we are operating right now. Nothing is being policed or enforced in our county. These are just recommendations. We aren't citing people, we're not out looking for anything, and we let them know that if they call. We have a meeting today with all of the school superintendents to look at the next school year. It has a great, huge bearing on our office, depending on how they go forward with their schooling. So we are meeting with them to see what that might look like. It sounds, when Secretary Norman talks about what this looks like, that this is not going away. So this might be a new way of life for the health department in regards to workload. That's a little scary. This can be very overwhelming and very taxing on our department. It already has been, as I've let you all know, week by week. But we're feeling it too. We made the decision this morning that we're not going to have staff be on call on the weekends anymore. It hasn't been needed in several weeks, so we aren't going to do that anymore. We'll just take the cases if they come. We also said that if one of us wants to schedule some time off, that's okay. If this is going to be here forever, we can't not take off. This is just not fair. And I mean, this has been a huge burden and a lot of work. So I think we're ready for some fun and ready to be able to breathe a little bit. We will look to our 8-county region to see if there are times that a nurse needs to be out of state or with her family, giving them their attention and time, that maybe we can share the load somehow, work together. So we're throwing some of that around and looking into that so we can actually step away from this officially and breathe a little bit. So otherwise, we've been seeing a lot of patients in the office, still wearing our masks, still distancing from them. That's all going very well. Everyone's been really great about that. No issues as far as our office is concerned. We haven't set a timeline yet for walk-in Wednesdays. The appointments have been working really well. So we'll probably stick with that for a while. Any questions about anything?
And one of the questions I continue to get from some of our citizens, some of the officers doing an appointment on their call. When are we going to go back where they don't have to call in? What's your thoughts?
I mean, we have no active cases right now. And
Everybody
I feel like.
Everybody I've talked to or talked to me, they'd like to have it all together.
Yeah.
Where they wouldn't have to call.
And I would say that I've seen that a couple of offices have made accommodations. They've put in sneeze guards, for lack of a better term. They've put in distancing. So if they put all that in, I don't know that there's an issue.
I was in a meeting with 5 other county commissioners Friday, and all the rest of the counties around us are opening up today. Some of them only to county employees as walk-ins, and out of county has to be a by appointment.
You said in county employees or in
County citizens can walk in, but if you're out of county, it has to be by appointment.
I guess my thought is that Dr. Shell and yourself, if there wasn't any major issues or significant issues, I'd probably like to see it like that.
And that's definitely a decision that you all can make.
Karen's not there. So do you know what offices are appointment on there?
With the clerk and treasurer.
Clerk and treasurer,
Clerk is not by appointment only, we're taking anybody.
Oh, are you? Okay.
how's the treasurer still appointment on? Is that the only one in the county?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You might want to talk to Karen about that, because
I'm sorry.
you might want to talk to Karen about that, because I think she has some information she could share with you guys.
We could ask her to come in here.
The health department's been appointment only except for 1 day a week for, I think that's,
Yeah, for, 2 years at least,
and
so.
as Todd said, not just weed for chemical sales by appointment, but to me, I would still leave that back to the department. I mean, that's kind of what we've done.
The reason why it works for us right now is if we do have an outbreak again or more cases again, we can call and cancel those appointments and shift the nurses away from there. It keeps us from keeping nurses on hold for 8 hours at a time, waiting for COVID to show up. It allows us to call you and cancel you and call you and cancel you and call you and cancel you. So for us, that's why we're doing it that way.
Any other questions for Lindsay?
No, just a good job to you and your staff through all this. I know it's kind of been hard on you.
Thank you.
Rather than department, 2 days on, 2 days off, you guys been there 24/7. We appreciate that.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, it's been tough. We're trying to have fun though. We've had several times, especially there in the heat of it. Russell was bringing us in lunch every day, which was amazing. That helped so much. And now we.
Think about rats.
His staff was awesome to work with too, but, so now occasionally I'll buy dinner from the department and for everybody. I mean, we're trying to find little places here and there that we can have a little bit of fun and.
Yeah. Thanks to boost some morale.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So if you see us out running a 5K together or walking a 5K or whatever, that's why. Just trying to have some fun. But if you call that fun, I guess. But yeah, we're still at it, and like I said, it doesn't sound like it's going away. The one thing that I've been really trying to do, given my leadership position here and in my state association, is really try to remind people that truly when we're doing disease containment, it's about taking this ill person and the exposed person and keeping them away from everybody. It's not our typical rule or plan to keep healthy people away from vulnerable people. That's never been what disease containment is about. And so I'm really confused at times as to how we got to this point. Where you even hear of grandkids being scared to see their grandparents for fear of giving them COVID when they don't even have it. So really just trying to remind people when I have the chance, this is about keeping the sick and the exposed away from everybody. Isolation and quarantine, that's all it is. So really, as we talk to schools, reminding them of that as well. So we're working on it, but again, I thank you all for your support. It's been much needed, so we'll keep at it.
Thank you,
guys.
Randy, you ready on the list?
Yeah, kind of a caveat to that. The sheriff's office, we're opened up. We've opened up, but we did put like a sneeze guard, like for our offender register that has to interact face to face. We put a sneeze guard up on her office. She's got a split door thing. So, and then we sanitize it in the day. But with Coffee County Lake, it would be my recommendation. Dawn and I have been talking. We would like to stay at the restricted hours for at least 2 more weeks. I think just because of the fact that it's a unique department that interacts with people from not just Coffee County, but from areas that have had outbreaks. We get actually at this point, not just Kansas City, but Emporia and Lyon County. They have. And so I think by keeping these restricted hours, we do 2 things. One is we're able to control it and gives our employees time to to still sanitize and clean and do everything, plus keep that social distancing. Our regulars have become adjusted to it, and we're not hearing a lot of complaints. They're not voicing them to us anyway. And so I think two things, budgetarily, we don't have to hire more people, which by hiring more people puts a strain on the budget. And two, and most importantly, just sanitizing and being able to keep it clean. So I would recommend that at least for 2 more weeks, since Dr. Shell has recommended that we stay or, follow recommendations and guidelines of phase 2, which is still some social distancing and reduce crowds, that sort of thing. Probably just a smart move, since that is a department that we interact with the public. So as long as, is that something the commission's okay with, or?
Yeah, I thought last week we were gonna do it for the month of June.
I didn't know, I couldn't remember if we were doing it for the whole month of June or what, and so I thought I just wanted to check back in with you guys and try weekly to give you updates and stuff on our usage and our numbers and stuff if something changes. I mean, you want me to keep coming back weekly, or?
Well, I thought you were gonna bring in your peak hours.
I did have that.
If your peak times fall within the times that you're.
Yeah, what we looked at.
Then I don't see a problem with just filling in those 7 hours.
Mentioned 2 weeks now, so with Neil Reading, you need to come back in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get into our peak hours, our longer days, where people are putting in anywhere from 13, they would traditionally put in anywhere from 13 to 15 hours a day. And so that's a concern that I talked with Dawn about. And, we get some 14.75, 15 hours, basically between 13 and 15 hours on a good day.
Yeah, what times are more people on water than?
They come in early in the morning, and then some will stay late.
Yeah.
Most are coming in around 3 o'clock and early because they've become accustomed to. And some of the guys that bring people that are guides, their deal is they're only doing basically 8 hours. And so by the time they drive down and they fish for 5 or 6 hours, then it's time to get off the water. And so those guys are adjusting, and they're fine with it. So the biggest complaint we hear has been our locals that maybe get off work at 5 o'clock and want to come out and fish for a couple hours. Those are the ones that are impacted. It's not our ones that are traveling here because they come early in the morning and fish the day and are, gone then. It's our locals that are paying the price. I will put that out there that, I asked on how many local people. He said sometimes 2 or 3, given, it depends on the day, the weather. If it's a good day and not high winds, you get 3, 4, 5 people that are local that come in after work. I hate that. I hate that. And those are the ones that are impacted. I don't know if, it can't go both ways though. You just can't go both ways. It's unfortunately a department that does cater to, I don't want to say tourism, but it is a form of tourism and economics. So we are getting into those peak hours though, where we would traditionally start working like 7 a.m., 6:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Traditionally, we're just now coming in. I looked at the timesheets from the last 3 years, and this is when we start ramping up. So
it's pretty bright by 7 o'clock.
it is. It's real bright by 7 o'clock. And those that are coming early in the morning, they're waiting. I mean, they're waiting for us. And that's something I asked Don about, is if we needed to adjust that morning time. And he said he didn't think we should, just for the fact that the guys get in there early anyway. So like say we're saying 7 o'clock, they're showing, our guys are showing up like at 6:15 or whatever. They're just early people. And so if nothing that they've got it clean, they're just going ahead and processing the people and letting them go ahead and get on the water instead of holding them back until 7 a.m. So, I said, I'm not going to regulate that. Common sense should dictate that. It says if you're ready to go and you're set up and you've disinfected and everything, then go ahead and let them on the water. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at. And if that's okay and everything, we'll just continue where we're at for a couple of weeks, and I won't come back next week and stuff unless something changes. So right now, I'm not gonna hire anybody. Don thinks they can manage it for now, at least with the reduced hours. And so for now, let's hold off. We do got some applicants though, for summer employment. So if we go back, in 2 weeks and you say, let's go ahead and open it up, then I fully suspect I'm gonna wanna hire at least a couple of people. Okay, all right.
Thanks, Frank.
That one, good. So.
Any other departments? Wayne, if you're ready.
Good morning. Morning. Okay, one road permit, no zoning permits, and the testing for the groundwater sampling passed. There was no problems found with the samples. And I do have one motion brought in, and so it's a precast box, actually for 2 precast boxes. What we're looking for there is on the Matthias Lake project, we're going to have 2 boxes there on Navy Road. And so this would be to actually solicit bids for that.
Motion 2020-36, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the county engineer's request to solicit informal bids for a structure purchase of 2 precast concrete boxes at Native Road and roughly 10 and a half.
Yes.
At the intersection of Native and 10th for the Matthias Lake project. Excuse me. Funds to be paid from the special highway fund.
So moved, Toby.
Dawn has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, then next one would be construction zone. As this week looks a little better, but there is some chance of rain later this week, middle of the week. But other than that, bridge crews working on entrances. They'll be also starting to work on the liner pipes. Landfill construction, we should be able to make some progress this week. We're looking at the rentals that we had discussed. Probably next week is when we'd have the rentals come in on the landfill. We are patching countywide. I'll move on to a discussion point here on asphalt here in a moment. Boom mowing and seeding, and we are preparing for dust control. We should have magnesium chloride in county next week is our schedule at this point. So, and we're also doing sign maintenance. We did go ahead and add that sign, Bob, that you had suggested. We added that over on 22nd. We'll also have a sign made up over there on Emmer and 58 too. But right now, those bridges are open. So,
Just pre-warn people that there's possibilities.
I thought it was a good idea. Even though we have them open and closed, we'll just pop it up when it's closed, and that way they can make a determination to move or not, or which direction they go. The asphalt projects, just received a call here last week from Kilo. So Kilo Construction was awarded all of our asphalt projects. They'd like to start on Shetland, so they're going to start on Shetland on Wednesday, and they're also going to start on those intersections. So we have the intersection there at 58 and California, and we also have the intersection at Old Highway 50 in Shetland. So they'll be milling those as they're laying down the asphalt, and they'll come back to be laying down the asphalt at those intersections. So they'll start on Shetland, and then probably by next week, they would be working on trefoil.
Now, trefoil may have a little more asphalt than what was originally designed because we do have some wheel rutting, some decracking that's occurring, and especially if you see around 22nd. We have some material right there. We're not for certain exactly how much more material that we'll have. We may even have to dig that out just a little bit. We're also doing some more investigation on 13th as I bring this up. This is another project that we have for hot mix asphalt. So this is the asphalt around town, what we're gonna call around town. So we're doing more investigation on it as well. So 13th, this would be where links. What they're doing is since we had the embankment road closed, more of the heavy truck traffic is going down 12 to links and then over to 13th and then up on 75. And so with that heavier truck traffic is actually damaging the road. It was already on the list, but our list only showed about 1.5 inches. And so we're doing more investigations right now because we have some decracking that occurred over the winter than what we were projecting. So that's yet to come. I'll give you more information when we have it. Okay, the bridges right now on 22nd, we were hoping that the bridge would open up over on 22nd between D to E, but that wasn't the case with the rain that we had here last week. It stopped them. They were able to make the patches. Today, they're actually getting everything cleaned off, and then they'll be doing the polymer overlay possibly tomorrow morning. And so we'll have 22nd opened up hopefully by Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we'll be coming back to Amber and working on the first bridge just south of 12th Road. So that's the plan right now. Actually, they're slightly ahead of schedule. I understand that they possibly had they were going to work on the bridge there in Burlington. So I'm not for sure on the details on that one, but that one was basically a change of plan as it happened there for occurring on that particular bridge. So also with those bridges, I spoke about asphalt. We're going to need to do some asphalt on that south bridge. This would be the bridge between 8 and 8.5 on the approaches. As we had milled off the asphalt, we've also found the approaches to be in condition that needed to be replaced. Actually, they were thin for the most part. And so we did get a bid back from the consultant, from the contractor, and we're looking at approximately $12,375 to do the asphalt and subgrade replacement on that bridge. So I'd like to go ahead and move that one forward for a change order. The bridge itself, original cost, just, I have the exact numbers, is $136,397 was the original cost on that bridge. But as I say, once they removed the asphalt, we found the approaches requiring repair. So I'll bring that back next week unless you have any questions or concerns with that. And we'll make that a change order. And Dawn, I would like to get with you on that detour routing order. And Dawn, I would like to get with you on that detour route again, since they are a little bit ahead of schedule. I could actually see them down in Leroy pretty soon. They should be finishing up those 2 bridges, possibly by next week, over on Emmer. So,
there isn't any soybeans at all planted out south of Leroy. You got the wheat harvest coming 15th of June, or give or take a few days.
Okay.
Time-wise, it's not going to be very good if they got to drive, an extra 12 miles of gravel road to get to town.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I could have them do is do the one on 12th between Emmer, just east of Emmer. And so they could probably work on that one, but they would be either there or the Old Highway 50 bridge would be next. Old Highway 50 is going to be dependent upon the application with the railroad. So.
I know it'd be fantastic to get that bridge no earlier than July 1st, but, we've got to be a little bit flexible too, I understand that. But,
okay.
If they're just driving around the section, detour would be different, but, to go around it, it's a 16-mile trip. To get South Edge Leroy, it's 16 miles somewhere.
So preference on that would be to have it done at the end of June.
Well, the end of June would get us, that'd get past all the crop planting or should, we hope. And then definitely get past the harvest part of it.
So,
The only thing that'd be messing up there is the old guys that hay out there, and there's a lot of hay, but, you know, that wouldn't be as bad. And once you get their equipment moved, it'll leave there overnight anyway.
okay, so to have the bridge closed and open back up by the 1st of July, or
Ideal time not to close it until 1st of July.
not until, okay. I'll
And
see
that's
what I
kind of
can do
and
that.
That's kind of the message we convey to the co-op manager. You know, when I talk to him and I think you talk to him,
Yeah.
we just kind of shoot for that July 1st and July 10th to shut down.
Right. I'll see what we can do, as far as those schedules, but we'll keep that in mind and do the best we can.
There's gonna be inconveniences no matter when we do that. So.
It will.
With time, there's also time pretty important on that too.
But I just want to emphasize again, I favor if doing a detour of county road, I'd rather put money into our county roads and into, Woodson County roads to make theirs better for detour.
Well, our current detour is the Coffee County.
It is Coffee County,
yes. The other one would be an option, just to take a look and see if that would be any better. At this point,
If you go all the way south to the railroad track crossing, and then 6 miles back to 75, you're looking at 8 miles of Woodson County.
Mhm. And at this point, we can come back and have that discussion or final discussion on that one next week, if that's okay. As I said, on landfill cell number 4, we're moving forward on that in dust control. So I don't have any, that's my talking points. I don't have anything else other than an invitation, and I would need guidance how you'd like to do this. What it is a local road safety plan. They're proposing a workshop. This is Trans Systems, has been hired as a consultant statewide, and we have actually paid into this several months back. And so what it amounts to is these consultants are going to selected counties that signed up to participate in this program. Now, what's the benefit of participating in this program is once this safety audit is completed, then what it's going to allow is potential funding from the Bureau of Local Projects, from KDOT, for the counties. And so they'll have a list of projects that they would make recommendations of things that could be done for federal money that could be made available. Short of this project, or short of not having this type of program, you would also lessen your chance of having funds available for different projects in the county. So what this workshop consists of is they would like to present the results on the crash data analysis, discuss the magnitude and the issues of the effectiveness of possible solutions. They'd also like to obtain feedback on specific locations and concerns within the county for strategies and countermeasures. It's not necessarily open to the public, so that's why I'm needing your guidance on this, because not necessarily opening this up to have a quorum from the commission or any city government, but rather to have a workshop that would have input from, say, emergency management, law enforcement, education, transportation, folks in the community that uses our roads, not just the public, and then to have that conversation and that discovery of what they found and what their recommendations would be and what our concerns are. Then later they would come back to the public, to the commission, and present basically the plan for Coffee County. So what I'm asking right now would be that if the commission would assign someone that could be available for the June 11th meeting. This is on a Thursday, it's in the afternoon, scheduled at this point from 1 to 5, and it would be down here in the meeting room. And so I checked with the office there, the clerk's office, so that A and B is available to us.
I'll say no.
Okay. All right. All right, I'll send the information, Tom, to Donna, and then you'll have an invite for the 11th.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right, Wayne.
You call Randy and see if he's available. And that's while we're waiting, do you have anything, or do you know if Angie has anything for the round table?
I'll text her and find out if she does. I have a couple things.
Okay.
When you ask about appointments only, our office isn't doing appointments only, but we did have a sneeze guard put in.
Mhm.
So we feel that's adequate to let people come in. The other thing is, it's open enrollment. You should all have your enrollment forms. I put them in Donna's box. So,
Or, I mean, pay stubs, or?
no, that's your pay stub.
Separate.
She should,
They're
like I
separate?
see Fred's right there.
Okay.
Maybe not. Well, they were in the box, so I don't know. I'll ask her about them when she gets back. But I
All
need you
the
to
rest
sign
of the
off on
county employees
those,
should have
yes.
them.
If you want everything to stay the same, there is a box that says keep the same. Donna, did you get their open enrollments out of the mailbox?
Yes, I have them right here for when we do roundtable.
So she has those to hand out to you, and if you want everything the same, there's a box on the front that says keep the same, and a box on the back for dental that says keep the same, and then you would sign the back. I would remind you that with our open enrollment, one of the options that we offer to our employees does help our local hospital, because if they select option 1, and they select the yellow side, if they go to the doctor, they get cheaper co-pays. But that helps our hospital because our claims are then paid to them.
Right.
So we are helping. And that's all I have. I'll text you.
Fred, do you have anything for round table?
No, I don't.
Tom?
Not at this time.
Angie, or Dawn?
I think she might.
Angie might be.
I don't think I have anything today.
Randy, come back.
Fred, I think you have fiber board meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
And you can let me know how you want to attend. You can attend live at the district office, or you can call in like you have during the COVID, and I'll get that information to you after the meeting.
Angie said she didn't have anything.
Okay. If we have any corrections on here, just write them off to the side.
Yes.
You need to sign it back to this page also.
You don't sign the front, you sign the back. The front says waiver, and I don't know why they did that on there. So,
I'll let you white that out.
yeah. Luckily, I'm the only one that sees the form, so I know you don't really want to waive your coverage, but
Just saying the signatures.
when they print them that way, every year I say, that confuses people. It was a little weird doing all the open enrollment stuff with no meetings.
Yeah.
Especially for the one where they buy cancer and vision and all of that, doing that by phone, and
That worked out nicely.
I think it did. Where you could just go online and do it yourself and pick out what you wanted. And
Cancel that, Fred. Cancel that.
Not for another
Wrong
meeting.
date. Wrong date.
Yeah.
July 7th.
Randy,
Thank you.
how's
I'm
the
gonna say
search
something
for
after.
dispatch supervisor?
Huh?
Dispatch supervisor?
Yeah.
Position?
What?
How's the search? Have you advertised?
We haven't advertised. We had a person that we were interested in, that we made an offer to, and it just didn't work out. That she just, at the end of the day, couldn't juggle where she's working currently, her and her husband own a business. And so she was gonna be the one person that I could bring in that would know the radio system with the radio transition that we're doing and the current communications switch out with the records management system. She was the only person. So at this point, I'm not gonna fill that position until I can have time to really vet applicants, since we lost Monica to Chanute. I don't know if you guys know the whole story on that. Chanute was interested in her, and they started their own dispatch center, which is smaller than ours. And I'll just give you an example. They stole her away from us for $70,000 a year. So I hated to lose her at this critical time because of the radio transition and the records management system transition. And so I've asked Tasha to fill that role and do both jobs, and oversee communications and supervise the dispatchers and run both dispatch and admin IT. We're gonna get some outside help from Advantage Computers to take on some of the IT work. But for now, I asked her if she would put in the extra time and do that. I'm sure you've probably seen a payroll notice that came through for compensation. And what I did was figured the hours that she's putting in extra, besides her job as admin IT, and she's putting in between 15 and 20 hours a week extra. And so I divided that between what Monica was currently making and split that up about to a third. And that's where I came up with that amount. It actually was higher, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go that high, even though she probably deserves it, taken on, because she's getting those calls all the time from dispatch and set with the cameras and radio system and communications. And so, but with that said, do I want to hire somebody? I do. I do want to get somebody hired, but I don't want to bring somebody in. Two reasons. I don't want to bring somebody in right now because of the radio system transition with the records management side of it and the radios. Second of all, we're down 2 dispatchers now. We did hire 2 dispatchers, but they're training. And so with that shortage in dispatch, I didn't feel like I wanted to, at this point, try to train a communication supervisor and do the radio program, because Tasha's going to have to be the one to teach or introduce a new communication supervisor to our radio transition to the new radio system. And with records management, all those records are going to have to be transitioned over. Mm-hmm. So that's why my decision not to hire anybody right now. Are we going to? We are. We're going to advertise it, put it out there, see if we can't snag somebody like Chanute did. So hopefully we can find somebody that's interested, that has the experience and the background. So yes, we do plan to hire somebody. Make a decision on that. But currently that's what I'm doing. That's why I took the steps I took. Any questions?
Have you visited with Advantage Computer, give them a rough idea of the time frame you might need to use them? Take care of some responsibilities that Tasha may or maybe not be able to do since she's working in dispatch?
Currently, we got a contract with them. I got a contract with them, and I got a pool of money in there, and so they're charging us by the hour. So if we call them, they come through here every week anyway, going to Lyon County. And so what we're doing is, if we have something that needs addressed that's non-urgent, we're just gonna have them stop by, and they're charging us by the hour instead of doing a maintenance contract with them, because maintenance contracts can get a little pricey. You know, like Lyon County has a weekly maintenance contract with them, and they pay for that. Whether you got any work for them or not, you're paying for that contract. I didn't want to go down that road yet. So we're doing like Anderson County. Anderson County did a contract with them, and you do a pool of money, and they charge you an hourly rate for actual hours performed. I think that's the best route to go right now. They're really easy to work with. We've had them remote in a couple of times now. They can remote in and get access They've stopped by and remoted in. And when I mean remote in, they go down to the annex and they get on the network. And that's my words, that remote in. I know technology, remote in means coming from the outside in, but I use the word remote to.
I think they do a lot of work with various county offices
They do.
throughout southeast Kansas.
I have full confidence and trust in them. They're already certified. They're already authorized or cleared because they've had their background checks done because they already do law enforcement. And so they've been cleared on their background checks. So.
What type of hourly rate do they?
I can't tell you what that rate is right off the top of my head, Don. I don't know. I can find out.
Well, how much do you have set in that pool for that?
We put a $5,000 pool together. That's what they wanted, was $5,000 pool, and that's where we start. And when
Time frame for that?
I don't have
They
it.
say it's this dollars for this many months to use up.
I believe it's an annual contract. It's a contract that basically says you got a $5,000 pool. When we start getting low, you can replenish it with more money and stuff, and they bill us for hours. They send us bills. So if you see bills from Advantage or Jayhawk, I think they go actually by Jayhawk, don't they?
There's a Jayhawk name out there, but whether.
Yeah, somehow they're tied together, and I'm not sure which way the bills come in. But anyway, we're gonna turn to them more they've been very helpful. They stopped by several times now and have helped us on stuff, and I think we're gonna need that help with the transition of the records management and all that to a new RMS system and a new CAD system for the 911. Gonna need that help, so.
You currently have an employee in dispatch that would qualify to move up, Randy?
In my opinion, no. I just don't have that. Not to me. Now, somebody could surprise me and come up and say, I want to be considered, but I just.
Well, you always fill out an application.
Right, exactly. I would never deny anybody working in dispatch, and they might be that diamond in the rough, but from my perspective, there's nobody in communications that I can walk up to and say, do you want to be the communications director? Just don't feel I have that person currently. And that doesn't mean I don't have very good qualified dispatchers that do a great job. It's a different job when you're the communications director. It's very little dispatching and more supervising and schedules and the electronics or technology side of things. So it's a whole different aspect to be the director than it is to be a damn good dispatcher. I've got good dispatchers and that are my training officers, for example, and they're training now the two new dispatchers, and they do a phenomenal job there. Who knows, one of them might be interested, but they could qualify, but whether they would be interested or not, I don't know. But I would definitely not deny them the opportunity to apply and be considered. So that's kind of where we're at. I would rather have some. I was hoping the other situation would work out. I thought it was a done deal. I thought we were that close to her coming back to work here and taking over and doing it, and then it just didn't work out for her obligations. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. If you know anybody that's interested, it's a lot of work. It really is. The biggest part about dispatch supervisor isn't what always goes on here, but it's the phone calls after hours, when systems go down. And then, we've been having a lot of problems with our radio system because the radios are just getting to that point. And so on the state side, computers will go down. A lot of times it's just a networking cable or whatever. But like the other day we had one and we tried everything we could to fix it. We couldn't. So Advantage Computer stopped by and got us back up and running. So definitely above technology. I do appreciate what you guys do. Well, it's a lot of work. So anyway,
Any other questions for Andy?
that's where we're at. So we do hope to fill that position. I just haven't advertised it yet. So when I do though, I'll send a notice up and let you guys know that what we're doing, but just haven't brought anybody in yet.
I think, for me, I think advertising is something that, if it were me, I'd have that advertisement out there until it was filled.
Right.
I mean,
I'm gonna put it out through the APCO network, which is statewide network of communications people. So our plan is to advertise through APCO and through the Kansas Sheriff's Association and the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police, because there are some municipal dispatch centers. That's where Monica went to. They decided to start their own dispatch center. They weren't happy with the counties down there, is my understanding. And so Chanute started their own dispatch center, and ambulance and fire are gonna transition over to them supposedly for Chanute and that area around Chanute. And then possibly they're gonna take on their own 911 also. Right now, my understanding is they're not doing 911, the county is still doing 911.
So she'll end up with a lot more responsibility down there, evidently, over and above what she's doing here.
Probably equal to eventually, if they do the full 911, if they go ahead and do the full 911, which it takes agreements between the county. If a city wants to do their own 911 as a PSAP, which is your primary, PSAP is your communication center. I don't know what the abbreviations stand for. Anyway, under Kansas law, you can only have one PSAP in each county unless the sheriff signs over authority for another PSAP. So then there could be two, but the sheriff has to sign off and agree to give up that responsibility or whatever. So, and I don't know where that's at between them, but definitely they were interested in Monica, her skills. She's very bad. She had 18 years with us and obviously came up through the ranks and learned. She never did really do the 911 side. She mainly just did the communication side, but they wanted her bad enough. They made her a heck of an offer she couldn't refuse. And so I don't blame her for taking that. I don't. In fact, I applaud her for, in a way, it makes me feel good that somebody would want somebody from our dispatch, but in a way, I hate it because I don't like them stealing. But that's part of it, you know, you excel, you do good.
That's a risk of doing business.
And when you're good at what you do, people are attracted to you. So, anyway,
Okay.
all right.
Anything else? Brian?
In fact, I had Angie, she might get with
So do you want to
I had Angie, they're
Do
gonna
you want to sign the Harold notice for Tasha?
attach this here. So,
So just leave the meeting.
Well, there's no question though, if that rate would be considerably less than bring in a full-time. But I think in the near future, we need to advertise and probably get somebody full-time for that position.
Right.
And right now with all the unemployment that's going on out there, you never know when there may be someone out there who'd be highly qualified too.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Well,
in the meantime, we do something.
it is a position where she's taking on more responsibility. It has to be, I mean, dispatch has to stay going. That's.
Yeah, that much more responsibility, you know, the individual that's doing it needs to be compensated for it.
You know, one thing I had a question about, and I've had this question for a couple of years now. we never make a motion to adjourn. Every other board I've been involved with,
No, every other board does. Most
that I'm involved
most
with,
commissioners call
just call me.
commissioners call meetings. And a lot of the meetings that I'm in, the chairman calls meetings.
I'll call it 11:05.
You guys send your enrollments or do you want to take that?